November. I'm Justin Sanders with Volunteer Precious Metals, here with Franklin Sanders to discuss modern monetary theory. For those of you that aren't familiar with it, the central idea of modern monetary theory is that governments with a fiat currency can and should print as much money as they need to, and that they cannot go broke or be insolvent unless they make a political decision to do so. On its face, modern monetary theory appears incredibly naive to me. Um, More than that, it 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 makes me think that maybe somebody doesn't have any knowledge of basic accounting. And when I read about the fellow that came up with modern monetary theory, I mean, he had a bachelor's degree. He had a hedge fund. He was trading. I mean, he knew stuff. He knew stuff I don't. But still, is it as simplistic and um, short-sighted as it appears on its face?
Yes, every bit. It is.
Should we just stop the video here?
There's a different. Exactly. There's a difference between naivete or inexperience and studied stupidity. And in this case, you'd have to be 100% ignorant not to understand that modern monetary theory is not modern. It's been practiced since Roman times. Okay, it's just debasement of the currency. Their argument is, well, the government issues all its own currency. It can never default because instead of defaulting, it'll just issue more currency. Well, guess what? When it does that, it destroys the currency unit.
Well, what if nobody wants the currency?
Let me give you an example. During the French Revolution, there's a classic work on inflation about the French Revolution. And during the French Revolution, the assembly decided we're going to issue currency backed by all the lands of the church that we confiscated. Okay, so they issued these assignats, and the first batch worked so well. Hey, we got money. We'll do this again, and again, and again, and again, until they ruined the assignat. They replaced that with the mandat, and the mandat they wrecked that until finally they got Napoleon. That's what ended it all. Napoleon had a big bonfire in the Place de la Concorde where he burned up all the plates that they had used to print the paper money. You follow what I'm saying? So he said, from now on, I'll pay gold or I won't buy. Just that simple.
I don't understand, though. It was a government.
Yes, and that's exactly what I'm saying. And you can go.
Can't they do anything they want?
Listen, you can go to, in history, you can go to Germany after World War I, Austria after World War I, Hungary after World War II, France during that time, Argentina any number of times, Italy, Greece, all of wherever these these countries could issue their own currency, they followed modern monetary theory until finally the public repudiates the currency. They say, hey, you're going to keep depreciating the currency. I'm getting out of it. And so there's a flight from the currency, and people, in fact, begin to discount the currency faster than they can issue it. And so there's a crisis, a hyperinflationary crisis, and the whole thing crashes. And there's a sense in which you could call what they've been doing since 1913 since, call it 34 when they went off gold. There's a sense in which you could call all of modern history under the Fed as modern monetary theory. But the point is, it comes to an end. Eventually things come to an end. There is a long run, Louise. There is a long run when things blow up. And you have to realize in our system, there's another, it kind of backfires in another way. In our system, all the money is borrowed into existence. We don't have any public money. We just have private money, and that's bank credit. So the government borrows money from the Fed. They issue bonds, borrow money. Fed monetizes the bonds, not directly, indirectly, but that's what they do. They monetize the bonds. Same exact mechanism they used in Germany in 1923. Same exact thing as with the assignats and mandat. Same thing. So the Fed effectively monetizes the money. And then somewhere, as you keep creating this debt, you're also creating an interest rate burden. And that means you have to keep on inflating or the whole system will implode. You follow what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And so it's not without a cost that you do these things. Well, we've already blown up the biggest debt bubble in history in the last 40 years. And it's breaking down. That's the reason. It's not COVID. It's the debt bubble is the reason that the economy is doing so poorly and threatening to crash. And now what's their solution for it? Hey, let's do a little more of what we've already done and see if we can't really blow things up. So the Fed and the federal government announced in March we're going to create $4.5 trillion worth of new money. Well, listen, that's the spring at the top of the mountain. That's the high-powered money. By the time that trickles down to the banks, it becomes a mighty river. All right, because they're going to multiply that $4.5 trillion by 10 times. Does anybody really think that you could add $45 trillion to the money supply and not depreciate the dollar some? I mean, it's just inevitable. And I think, I'm certain that the head criminal at the Fed, Jerome Powell, understands that because they added 65% to the money supply between about March and May and maybe June. And then he started backing off. So see, he makes these announcements. We're going to create all this money to get everybody up off the ground and to get markets excited. But then he kind of he manages it, you see, because he knows it can blow up anytime.
He's walking a tightrope.
He's absolutely he's walking a tightrope. But the idea that we can just get away from this forever. Shoot, we can give everybody universal basic income. Yeah, you need a bike. We'll buy you a bike. Whatever you need. Yeah. Oh, yeah, pay for your breakfast. Sure. You can't do that forever. At some point, you destroy the currency when you do that. There isn't any free lunch. There really isn't any free lunch.
Well, you've blown my mind. I mean, here you've put forward these ideas that the government is fallible and COVID is not the source of all of our problems today.
Amazing.
I just don't know where to go from here. Modern monetary theory seems like such a small thing in the face of these shocking revelations.
No, it's a giant mistake. It is, and the fact that they're embracing it shows their stupidity, their ignorance, and their desperation. What it means is that you've got to get out of private money, this bank credit, and all the money we use is bank credit.
Right.
Okay, except the coins that you spend. Even the Federal Reserve notes, they're bank credit. You've got to get out of that private money, out of that system, and into public money, which is gold and silver, because that's the only thing that can immunize your holdings from the loss that they're going to create by inflating. And even if they don't hyperinflate the currency, although I think maybe they will this time. Maybe they're just stupid enough and pressed enough that they will. But even if they don't, there's going to be a severe depreciation in the dollar. No way to avoid it.
There you have it, folks. If you have any questions, give us a ring, 888-661-4000.